Good evening, everyone. Afternoon. I've moved the microphone to the other side. Can you hear me well? Let me know if you can hear me well. If the microphone's working. Let's have a look here. Is that okay? So I started a little early. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Oh, it's good. Great. And I've got a light as well. Does it look a little brighter? I've got a new light. Billy's here, so I've changed the side over. Yeah, we have enjoyed Christmas. The title of the live, and I'm a bit early, so let's wait until people get on because I started about 5 minutes early. Graham Hobbs says, gratitude for all your knowledge and insights through the year. Let's get prepared for the year of revelations coming up in a city near you anytime soon. Yeah, hopefully there will be a revelation of all the tricks we've been playing. They've been playing on us. I think it's a really what they've done this year. The people who run the world is pretty disgusting. Really, in my opinion. I won't go any further, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I've had the mic for a while, Isaac. It's just that I didn't have a stand for it. It was standing on the desk, and I watched a few videos of how best to utilize the mic. You bought a stand and bought one of these things to kind of help. So there we go. Yeah, I did enjoy Christmas. Thank you, Jack. I saw Padenda's here, lighting much better. That's good. Padenda, I got that. Yeah, I got that a few weeks ago. I use it once in a while. In the summer, of course, I don't need it because the days are a lot longer. But in the winter, it's always good. Well, Billy is sleeping, but yeah, full of turkey. He was just out in the garden about 10 minutes ago. And he's doing a lot better. When he had a ulcer in his eye, he wasn't feeling good. He was not the same, but he's back to normal, which is good. Bobcat Bren, hi Bobcat. Peter Wilson, thumbs up. Yeah. Tara says, missed last few. We'll watch this, then go risk my life to get groceries. Joker Alpha from the Pacific Northwest. Luca Pazzoli. Hi, Luca. Nice to see you here. Money Fork. It's not a problem going live. Louis Villazanor says, Merry Christmas to you and for spreading the good message. Yeah. Max Intel from Kansas City, KC. You haven't missed anything yet, James. I just started out a little early. I'm going to wait for another couple of minutes, and then I'll start talking about what I'm thinking today. And maybe just like, have you asked me questions? Everyone asked me questions. Just kind of relax, talk about things. It's the last live stream of 2020. Hopefully in 2021, things will get better. I think there are a lot of people out there who are waking up to what's really going on, and not just people in the alternative, but even people who, for example, I know a guy who writes for Money Week in the UK. His name is Tim Price, and I've read his stuff for over a decade, for about 15 years. Always very measured guy in his writing. He's a fund manager in London, but you go to his Twitter and he's really having a go at the globalists. And I think that's encouraging. Miles, thank you for your super chat. Everything has reached its all-time highs. Stocks, real estate, cryptos, gold, but not silver. What is going on? Yeah, that's a good question, Miles. And I've been thinking a lot about Bitcoin because Bitcoin went over 28,000 today. Tricky Dicky, thank you for your super chat as well. What do you think of the Brexit deal, and do you trust the Tories to level up the UK? First, I'm going to talk about the question from Miles about what's happening. Why hasn't silver made a new high? Well, I think, I don't know if any of you know about John Exter's inverted liquidity pyramid. I've done videos about it. Basically, John Exter, he worked for the New York Fed back in the 50s and 60s. He helped found the Sri Lanka, or at the time it was called the Ceylon Central Bank. So he was really part of the the club, and he basically was a gold bug as well. When he left banking, because after the Fed, he worked for the Chase Manhattan Bank. Then he retired, and he knew that gold was going to go up because the powers that be were printing money. They're creating a lot of reserves in the 60s, and he talked about this liquidity inverted pyramid, and at the bottom was gold, and I would say silver is at the bottom as well. And when he always foresaw that this non-system after 1971, the Bretton Woods system, would implode, and that all the liquidity would flow from the riskier assets to the most, to what is money really at the tip of the inverted pyramid, and that is gold. And I think that's what's happening. We're seeing people rushing away from the dollar, and they're doing it through things like the stock market, the bond market, now through cryptocurrencies. And it's showing more in cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, because cryptocurrencies are not as controlled as precious metals. But the other thing I was thinking about cryptocurrencies is, okay, people are buying Bitcoin at 28,000 or 27, 26. Someone's selling. So if you really think the fiat currency system is collapsing and you're selling your Bitcoin, where are you going to put it? There's only one place, either gold and silver or other hard assets like commodities. And I think that's what's going on. I still believe, and I've told people that, cryptocurrency is very speculative, and it is. It's very unstable. And I still believe gold and silver have the track record, thousands of years of history. I know there's a lot of people going on about, Bitcoin is going to be the new gold standard. Central banks are going to drop cryptocurrencies. I'm not too sure about that. I think the idea is interesting. The white paper of Bitcoin that was written by someone that we don't even know who wrote it, right? But in the end of the world, in the end of the day, gold still money, silver is still money. That's how I see it. As for Brexit, that was the other question. There's a good guy on YouTube called Jeff Taylor. He talks a lot about Brexit. He knows, that's what he looks at, English guy. And he made an interesting video, I think yesterday or the day before. And I don't think this deal is really, from what I understand, from what he said, this deal is like really still tying up the UK and the EU together in loads of committees going forward. So I'm not too sure. As for the UK leveling up, like north and south, or the city of London and the rest of the country, unless you get sound money system, unless you have smaller government, I don't think there's going to be any leveling up, because the whole system in the UK is still dependent a lot on the financial sector. The financial sector is in London, and then in an inflationary. Jeff Taylor, Peter Wilson, Jeff Taylor is his name. So leveling up, I don't think you need to have less government to level things up, in my opinion. It might sound counterintuitive, but I think the bigger the government, the worse it is for the general public. And and from what I heard, I think the feeling I get is they've made a big deal out of this Brexit deal that they got, but I think a no deal would have been a lot better. So that's the way I feel it. And in the short term is difficult. I think we'll find out in 10, 20 years time if it was better for the UK. And even then it could have been other things that helped the UK. Ben Gray, hi, nice to see you. Someone's saying $10,000, 10,000 of gold. I'm not sure what that means. Do you mean the price, $10,000? That's the thing. The title of the live stream is about speculative manias, debt, and political mayhem. These are usually symptoms of loss of confidence in currencies. And I think we have just the right ingredients going into the whole world, not the whole, well, the whole world, yeah, into the system. People are less and less, I think they're going to lose faith in their politicians, in the system, not just left and right, the whole establishment. And I think that that means once you lose, the majority of the public loses confidence in the establishment, in the system, they'll lose confidence in the institutions that these people run. And what are these institutions? Well, government, the central bank, the treasury, their currency that they issued, the fiat currency. And that's why I think we are close to a currency collapse. And I don't think people are going to be worried about the price of gold when that happens. They're going to be worried about having gold or silver because the price of gold and silver is the value in fiat currency. And if those fiat currencies become worthless, there will be no price. You will just be able to, if you don't have gold and silver, you won't be able to get any. And that's why you have to be prepared. And as for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, they've never gone through a currency collapse. So I can't tell you how they're going to react to a currency collapse. But I have a feeling a lot of people that have Bitcoin and are making a lot of profits in fiat, they're eventually going to go over to hard assets like gold and silver, commodities. They might still keep some cryptocurrencies. But if we go back to sound money, not governments, but the public, if the public wants to use gold and silver, I think it's going to be hard because cryptocurrencies are there as an alternative to fiat. So we need to wait and see when fiat currency collapses, if there's going to be any use for cryptocurrencies. And I'm not trying to slag off cryptocurrencies. It's just that they don't have the track record of thousands of years. So I can't really say. They might do well. They might stay, it could be gold, Bitcoin, and silver might end up to being the big money or currency that people use. We'll have to see. Miles, could the too little, too late stimulus really be because direct payments will cause higher velocity, revealing inflation, higher prices? Well, I don't think they're worried about, I don't think the people in Congress know anything about inflation or the monetary system. I think it's just a political game going on with between Pelosi and President Trump. I think the stimulus could have been passed way before, but I think Pelosi said, oh, we don't want to do it before the election. So that's what's going on. But yeah, and I've seen what President Trump said makes sense. I guess it's just to say he'd rather just give 2,000 to everyone and cut out the pork. And I agree with him, but basically, yeah, that sounds fair. But because of, especially after what the states have done, each individual state to shut down businesses and disrupt people's lives. But unfortunately, I think government has gotten too big, because government is not there either to give people $2,000, because those $2,000 are going to come from savers, and they're going to come from the same people who are going to get it. They're going to pay it some way, sometime in the future. I think the purpose of government, and it might sound harsh, is to protect individual rights, property, and liberty. Of course, everything is so screwed up this year, and it has been for decades. Government is expected to do everything. So people on the left and right now, they want to save everyone, right? Even President Trump. But I guess he's the worst of, the lesser evil. He wants to give the $2,000 to the general public, and then the other plan is to give it to interest groups. So that's all I have to say about that. But I don't think it's still not a good thing. I think it's still going to create a lot of inflation, a lot of debt. I don't think this system can be saved. Peter Wilson, thank you. I only wish that with $5 could have been a US. Yeah, and a half eagle is $5 technically. It still says I have a $5 eagle. I have a $10 eagle and a $20 eagle. They're $20. The $5 half eagle is $5, really. The $5 note that we have is not really a dollar. It's just it's just an impersonator, right? It's a fraud. Tara, thank you for your super chat. Money for nothing, chicks for free. Doogie, thank you. Should I hodl my TRX stocks or sell up? I think you should hold on to 10 range. Jim Sinclair is in that business for the long term. I think it will be a good business, but it takes time. What else I was talking about now? I forgot. Half eagle. I was talking about money velocity, inflation. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. My definition of inflation is the increase in the supply of money and credit. That's what it is. Yes, I saw Jim Rickards the other day. He was interviewed by Daniela Camboni of Stansberry Research, and he said, we don't have inflation. The Fed says we don't have inflation, so we don't have inflation. I was surprised that he said that. So Jim Rickards believes in the PCE number that says inflation is less than 2%. And I'm surprised about that. And he just seems to think that you only have inflation when the money velocity goes up, but that's not so. The dollar has lost a lot of purchasing power in the last 20 years, loads of purchasing power versus everything, really. So I do think we have inflation. What I think he means is that all the reserves, all the credit and money that has been created is flowing to financial assets at the moment, but it's also making life more and more expensive for everyone. He did say there's a bias of just looking at things that go up in price, but why are Americans, even here in the UK and Europe, why are people so they didn't have a few $100s in savings before this crisis? If there wasn't any inflation, if the economy was doing well, and if people were able to save, if it was the greatest economy, people would have a lot of savings. They wouldn't have to have the government bail them out like they're doing right now. I know they shut the economy down, but yeah, it just to me it doesn't make sense. So why do I think? So the title of the live stream, I talk about speculative fever, and we are having speculative fever. I think we've had it for over a decade with the hedge funds, with day trading, the dot-com bubble. There's been a lot of speculation. Robinhood these days, and all the ETFs, derivatives, they've introduced derivatives, not just to the big banks and Wall Street, also to the public. And if you go back to fiat money inflation in France, that's when they had the assignats. And France had the same problem. You had the French Revolution. France was bankrupt, loads of debt in the 1790s. So they decided to print up the assignats. And they were supposed to be backed by by church property and property they confiscated from the aristocracy. And there was reluctance, of course, to start issuing paper money in France. And but they started, and they couldn't stop. It's like QE. They started QE aggressively in 2008. They thought they could stop. They started normalizing back in 2018, and then they realized it was going to bring the whole system down. So they had to do QE again, and it's now QE to infinity, right? They'll do whatever it takes. And I knew when they started in 2008. And why did I know? Well, because I had read this book, that once you go down that road of creating money out of thin air, you can't stop. And if you stop, everything comes down. If you keep going, everything comes down at the expense of the currency. But you get to a point where people can't live. They're better off speculating and gambling than trying to produce things. And I think that's where we are right now. So this is what it says here. French Revolutionary, most of the brilliant apologists for, sorry. It says here, commerce was dead. Betting took its place. So this was in the 1790s. So it says, nor was there any compensating advantage to the mercantile classes. The merchant was forced to add to his ordinary profit a sum sufficient to cover probable or possible fluctuations in value. That's of the currency. This is Fiat Money Inflation in France by Andrew Dixon White. So I'll continue. And while prices of products thus went higher and wages of labor, owing to the number of workmen who were thrown out of employment, went lower. So nowadays, aside from price fluctuations, currency fluctuation, we have also the lockdowns, right? So how are you going to start a business? I don't think anyone's thinking right now of starting a business really on the high street, because you don't know if things are going to open back up, or if they open back up in the next 6 months, they could very well lock down again next year in the fall. Who knows? So let's continue here. But these evils, though great, were small compared to the far more deep-seated signs of disease which now showed themselves throughout the country. One of these was the obliteration of thrift. So yeah, how many people nowadays hear of savings, right? People don't save anymore. There's no interest rate, right? They've obliterated thrift. The only way you can save really is with sound money, gold and silver. That has worked well, but the money in the bank, it doesn't work anymore. I guess cryptocurrencies have done well, especially Bitcoin, but you sit through a lot of volatility, right? 3 years ago, it went up to 19,000, dropped to 3,000. Now it's up to 28. Who's to say that can't come down to 12,000 and even lower, and then go back up to 40? So it's not a safe way to save cryptocurrencies. So it says the French are naturally thrifty. That was back then. But with such masses of money and with such uncertainty as to its future value, the ordinary motives for saving and care diminished, and a loose luxury spread throughout the country. A still worse outgrowth was the increase of speculation and gambling. With plethora of paper currency in 1791, appeared. Hold on. With the plethora of paper currency in 1791, appeared the first evidences of the cancerous disease which always follows large issues of irredeemable currency, a disease more permanently injurious to a nation than war, pestilence, or famine. Okay, I'll stop here at the moment. I see a comment there by Tweety Bird. The French are, well, French. Well, actually, that's a very I don't think you're right there. That's a silly comment to make, because there's another book here, When Money Dies, of the Weimar hyperinflation, and the same thing happened in Germany in 1923. People started speculating because producing and growing agriculture didn't pay because the currency was all over the place. So it's not a French thing. It's happening. It's happening nowadays as well. Robin Hood comes to mind. I think cryptocurrencies, even though I think there is like a reason behind them, I think a lot of it is froth. A lot of it is speculation, fear of missing out. And the other thing that concerns me right now is that Wall Street wants to get involved in cryptocurrencies. And that means they want the public to get involved. And I think people need to be aware of that. That's a dangerous thing. Cupid's stunt. What percentage of Brits hold precious metals? I don't know, but not a big percentage, I would say. Not a big percentage. Billy just jumped off. So I'll stop here for a moment. So yeah, for those of you who don't know the book, it's Fiat Money, Inflation in France, how it came, what it brought, and how it ended. Andrew Dixon White. It's not a very big book to read, a long book. I think you can find a free PDF if you Google Fiat Money, Inflation in France free PDF. You find it. Okay, yeah, Billy's off. He's down on the floor right now. No, Billy's into silver. Jim Diggs, he's a silver bug. John Colorado says 1,000 ounces of silver per person is sufficient. Yeah, no, I'm not Satoshi Nakamoto. Bobby 8270, what about having to pay tax on imported silver from December 21st? Well, I don't really. I usually buy my silver. Usually buy like old coins where there's no VAT, or I do pay the VAT. I don't care about the VAT because I think silver is going to be priceless. So the VAT won't matter. I started buying silver in 2003, and I think the first price I paid was £3.20, £3.20. With a VAT, it was about £3.60. At the time, I was concerned, about paying the VAT, but now silver's at £20. Do I care that I paid 20% VAT? No. I think people need to not worry too much about the VAT. Yeah, Patenda. Yeah, I was wearing my Billy. I have a Billy Airways sweatshirt. I was wearing it the other day. Billy Airways. There's always a silver lining with Billy Airways, and it's sponsored by real capitalists. Dark horse. VAT is such a scam on the European people. Of course. I mean, it's a 20% tax. Well, at least here in the UK, it's 20%. Some countries a little less, some countries a bit more. It's like the sales tax in the US, I guess. But I don't think in the US it depends on the state that you're in. The annoying thing in the US that I find is when you buy something, then they add the tax, and you think you're buying something for $10, but it's actually $12 or $11. But here they add the tax on the price already. But yeah. Pat says, I think the rally turnaround in pressure mode that started at the end of November will go into hyperdrive starting tonight. What do you think? I never like to predict those kind of things, Pat. But yeah, I think the correction is over for precious metals. How quickly it's going to go back up, I don't know. I don't know. But I do think the cryptocurrencies are, at least, the major ones, are giving a signal that something's wrong with the dollar, even though I guess back in 2017 they went up as well. But yeah, those people who are selling Bitcoin, they're going to have, if they don't believe in fiat, they're going to have to put their profits somewhere else, like real money, gold and silver, or other hard assets. Shane Sturgis, yeah, gold is VAT. There's no VAT, or it's tax free. I think that started back in 1999, and the reason they did that is because there were some people scamming the VAT man. I think it was a lot of the Asian dealers. They used to go to Belgium, buy it with no VAT, the gold, bring it back, and then sell it to the gold dealers here and claim the VAT. So they realized that the taxman they were paying 20% to these dealers, and they actually hadn't charged anyone VAT. So actually, the government was losing money from that, and that's one of the reasons why I think they stopped VAT on gold. With silver, they didn't stop because it wasn't worth doing it, because silver was not as valuable. So that's the story I heard, why they stopped the VAT on gold. What is capital gains tax? Well, in the UK, let's say if you buy, well, first of all, there is no capital gains on coins of the realm. So if you buy silver coins that are has the Queen's head on it, it's a UK coin, or sovereigns or Britannias. Let's say you buy 100,000. Let's say you buy 10,000 pounds worth. The next year it's worth 30,000. So you've made 20,000 pound profit. That's a capital gain. So usually they charge you, there's a threshold. So the first, let's say 10,000 or 12,000, you pay no tax, but then the other 8,000, you pay the rate of tax that you're taxed as. If you're a 40% income taxpayer, you're going to pay 40% on those 8,000, and if you are 20% income taxpayer, you're going to pay 20%. So with stocks is the same, but if you buy coins of the realm, there's no capital gains tax. But with Bitcoin, there is capital gains tax. So if you bought Bitcoin, let's say one Bitcoin at 1,000 pounds, and then you sell it at 40,000 pounds, you're going to be paying basically, you've made 39,000 pound profit. You're going to pay tax on that. Well, you should declare that, really, and they're going to keep track of you now, because if you switch that Bitcoin into fiat, it's going to show up, because most of the exchanges now do the know your client and anti-money laundering. So you have to be careful. So if you make, let's say, 39,000 pounds on that one Bitcoin, you're going to have the threshold that's 12,000. So you're going to be paying, let's say, 20 or 40% tax on the 27,000 above the threshold. But that doesn't happen with sovereigns or Britannias or silver or gold. But it does happen with stocks and cryptocurrencies. It doesn't happen in the foreign exchange market because they're currencies, but cryptocurrencies are considered assets in the UK. Mr. Guppy, I wasn't around. I was around. I was only about 15 at the time, the Hunt brothers, but I've read about the Hunt brothers a lot. And basically, the COMEX, they stop people from opening positions, long positions on COMEX. So they basically banned people buying, and that just took the the floor out of the silver market. And so the Hunt brothers, they brought them down like that. And we are told that the Hunt brothers were the bad guys, but and that they were trying to corner the market. I don't think it was that, because Bunker Hunt and his brother, they were very wealthy family. Their father was one of the richest men in the world. I think he started the oil business in Kuwait. He made billions. And in 1971, when Nixon closed the gold window, you couldn't buy gold still in the US. So the Hunt brothers started buying physical silver in the early 70s. And they took delivery as well. So the Hunt brothers, and they had other partners later on. I think other countries like the Persian, the Shah of Iran and Iran were involved, and some other countries in the Middle East, because they knew the dollar was almost collapsing there in the late 70s. I think the US Treasury, they had to issue treasuries in Deutschmarks and Swiss francs because people didn't want to buy dollar bonds. That's how crappy the dollar was at the time. So yeah, the Hunt brothers, they challenged the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve, of course, is run by the bankers. The bankers run COMEX, right? So they changed the rules. That's why you shouldn't. That's why I wouldn't. If I was going to accumulate gold and silver, I wouldn't do it through futures. I wouldn't do it through ETFs, because the bankers are in charge of the ETFs. We saw recently that Goldman Sachs, they bought the Perth Mint ETF. So I wouldn't touch those with a barge pole. I don't trust GLD as well. It's run by the central bankers, GLD, HSBC, LBMA. It's not real physical gold. Andrew Jensen, would the Fed tolerate Glint's gold as medium of exchange? Well, here in the UK, if a shop accepts gold, it's not a problem. They can accept any currency here in the UK. But when they declare, they do their accounts, they have to switch it over into the local currency if they're going to pay tax. I don't know how it works in the US. So in the UK, it's not a problem. And Glint now, of course, I don't know if their US peer-to-peer function is working, but here in the UK, you can basically send, as easy as you send a text, you can send like a gram of gold or a pound of gold to someone else who has a Glint account. So you could actually bypass the fiat currency system there. DJ Dras, Sprott. Yeah, I think of all the ETFs, the only one really that I would trust would be the Sprott ETF. But even then, there's a counterparty risk, right? So the best thing to do is to hold it outside the system. Sprott is a financial company, so it's in the system technically. Yeah, you just have to make sure it's out of the financial system and that you have it safely stored. Yeah, Bifford, I saw that Bernanke Greenspan testimony. He said it was tradition, right? Yeah, Bernanke is a charlatan. That's the only thing I can say about that guy. He's a charlatan. So is Powell. So is Yellen. I mean, Greenspan is a little different because he will admit that gold is money, but he's double-faced, Greenspan. He will help out the fiat boys, the bankers, but at the same time admit the truth. So I don't know. Seeker says all Bitcoin is owned by the one that owns the telecom infrastructure. And the other thing that I was thinking about Bitcoin, people say there is no counterparty risk. It's your private wallet. But I found recently that it's very hard because I earn quite a bit of cryptocurrencies because I publish my videos, upload them on blockchain platforms. So it adds up. And I usually sell those cryptocurrencies like Steemit, like BitChute, like DTube. I convert it into Bitcoin. And lately I found that I wanted to transfer $50 worth of Bitcoin from Bittrex, an exchange, crypto exchange, to my private wallet. And guess how much they took? Like $15 worth of fees. So to transfer that. And even when you transfer from wallet to wallet, there's a huge charge. And I would say if the block producers go on strike, if they stop producing their blocks, and I know there's the incentive to make Bitcoin when they do that, but if for some reason they stop, the whole system stops, right? You can't pay other people with Bitcoins if the block producers stop. In gold, if the gold mining industry goes on strike or stops, it doesn't matter because there's loads of gold above ground. So that's the only problem I have with that. No says, sorry, I'm late. Moose traffic here in Maine. No problem, No. We still have about 20 minutes or maybe more. That's right, V-Cook. There is no fees in gold and silver. I just bought a florin a couple of weeks ago on eBay. It's a 1918. It's a British coin. Basically, it's 2 shillings. It's from 1918, so it's 925 silver, and it's in really good. I do have it in a little plastic thing to keep it safe, but I wanted to show you it's in really good. It's almost like mint condition. I paid a little more than what it should. Spot price, of course. It's a bit numismatic, but I think these kinds of coins are going to be good to have. Silver coins. Have some other ones here too. Yeah, I like numismatics, V Cook, even though that's not a big part of the stuff that I own. But I do have some numismatic coins. There is a really good book. I'm gonna go get it from my shelf to show it to you guys. Where is it? It's this one here, Illegal Tender. So, Gold, Greed, and the Mystery of the Lost 1933 Double Eagle by David Tripp. I really recommend this book. It goes because it covers, what happened in 1933 with the gold confiscation, and it's a really interesting story, and it's about numismatics as well. So, and it's like a thriller adventure about coins. I really recommend the book, Illegal Tender. Yeah, you're not supposed to clean the coins. That's right, Philip Parker. This one is not clean. This is just like didn't circulate much, even though it's 102 years old. I didn't clean that, and the person who sold it to me didn't clean it. I do have some coins that were cleaned. Uh, it does put the value down a little bit. Yeah, Biff Bifford, the USA. Well, the banks went bankrupt, really. It wasn't the USA, it was the banks. But I guess the Treasury would have gone bankrupt if the banks had gone bankrupt. The Treasury of the US went bankrupt also in 1971 because Nixon closed the gold window, which is basically there was a run on the US Treasury by foreign treasury, so they closed it. That was a bankruptcy as well, and it's never been settled. So that's why I think we're close to the settlement. That's what the reset's going to be, and it's going to be a lot higher gold and silver prices. I don't think so. DR, the Basel III, will not affect COMEX. It's more the leverage that will affect COMEX if people ask for delivery, but Basel III itself won't affect it. What Basel III does, it just allows banks, if they want to hold gold as tier one assets, to do so, but it doesn't force them to do so. 20% VAT on silver in UK puts dealers commission plus dealers commissions. Yeah, well, the bullion dealers, depending on how much they pay, pay for the silver coins. The problem with the silver coins is that they're not as valuable as gold, so the premiums charged by the dealers are going to be higher, unfortunately, because there's not much margin. So that, and with gold, it's different because an ounce of gold is like 1,400 pounds, maybe a bit more. So percentage wise, the premium will be a lot less. It's because there's not as much margin in the silver. Mr. Blueberry, the FCSC, that's the FDIC equivalent in the UK. I think they have about maybe 4% at the most of all the deposits that they're supposed to insure. So no, uh, they wouldn't have enough money from the FCSC to pay off, the 85,000 for every, they wouldn't. And I guess what would happen is maybe they would have to just print the money. Um, and we know what that does to it. It will just be, it won't buy much. Mario, to avoid taxation, why not just buy physical coins with Bitcoin? Well, you have to find someone that's willing to sell you gold coins and take the Bitcoin. Through a dealer, you'd have to if you call a bullion dealer in the UK, they might accept Bitcoin, but you have to find out first, and or else you're going to have to sell the Bitcoin into the local fiat currency, and then you have to declare it because you're doing it through a dealer. Or normally you should declare it for the tax. That's up to you. I'm not telling people not to declare their taxes. How much they earn. That's up to each individual. But you could get in trouble if you don't. If you make 100,000 profit in Bitcoin, you sell that and then take the pounds and buy gold. They might come after you and say, "Where did you get the 100,000?" Because they a lot of the Bitcoin exchanges, when you transfer, when you liquidate into fiat currencies, to open accounts at these exchanges now, they have to go through anti-money laundering. They have to go through know your client procedures. So that's all I have to say about that. But if you find Sharps Bixley, take Bitcoin for bullion. I think Gold Investments, the people that I have the promo code with, maneco64, they're looking to deal in Bitcoin as well. But what you need to find out, is with your accountant about that. But all I know is that there's no capital gains tax on coins of the realm in the UK. Silver Shield coins. I think I do. I think is it this one here? Yeah. Someone sent me a few of these, like someone who watches my videos. Is that the one? It's a 1 ounce Silver Shield. Yeah, I do have some of those. And I've also got, I think one of the viewers also sent me a 1 ounce kangaroo. The Silver Shield coins are nice. Yeah. Jeffrey Sherwood. Currency crisis. When the currencies lose their value, of course, they'll be destroyed. So that's deflationary in terms of the money supply. But you won't, first, there's the demand for what happens in the hyperinflation is that the demand for currency collapses. What does that mean? That means people will want to exchange. They will want anything but dollars, pounds, or euros, or Swiss francs, and they will want something that has value, something tangible. But of course, money will be destroyed, which is deflationary in itself, because the money supply will be destroyed, but the money will be worthless as well. So it will have no buying power. That's what will happen. And yes, it will be very deflationary. The economy is going to stop. But it doesn't mean to say that prices are going to go down. You won't be able to buy anything with the currencies. Clark Torres, capital gains tax is 10,000. No, actually, that's the threshold. The threshold is about 12,000 pounds. So if you make a profit more than 12,000 pounds, you're going to pay tax on anything above 12,000. That's right. But the capital gain tax, it's a threshold, and then you have the capital gains tax rate. If you're a high if you're a high top level income tax, if you're in the top bracket, you're going to pay 40% tax. If you're in the lower bracket, you're going to pay whatever rate that is. I think it's 20%. Connor Monnery, do you think there will be bail-ins? Probably. I mean, last time they did bail-ins in Cyprus, and they've been doing bail-ins in Italy as well. Enrique Bourne says he buys from Bullion by Post, but now they only sell after 4th of January because of Brexit. I'm from Portugal. Well, try Gold Investments. They're very good. They'll ship anywhere, and I don't think there's a problem for them. You might want to check with them. I have a promo code with goldinvestments.co.uk. It's in the description below, Enrique. And if you tell them it's Maneco 64, they'll give you a small discount as well, a 0.5% off the price. Chris Conman, thank you for your super chat. Hypothetically speaking, worst case scenario, a new world order is created. Digital currency is issued by, I think it would be issued by the IMF, but because the IMF is I think the World Economic Forum is just a think tank for these people. It would be the IMF, but okay, if gold is at 10,000 US dollars, how would it get priced relative to new digital currency? Thanks. Well, what I think would happen, they will just say we're going to have a digital SDR, and then they'll say that that SDR is going to be fixed at $12,000 in terms of gold, and they'll keep the price of gold between, let's say, 11,500 and 12,500. That's how they'll do it. That will be the digital SDR. It's just a bit like what they did after 1980. If you look at the chart of gold, up until 2000s, except for the last few years of the last century when gold was sold down because of Gordon Brown, gold really was, we were in a range between 350 and 450. So it was pretty much fixed. The price of gold was fixed around $400, basically, the whole of the 1980s and up until the mid 90s. So that's what I think they do. You'd have the SDR coin, let's say, and they say it would be backed by gold. Not for us. We, the people, can't go and get coins from the bank for the currency. But what it will do between countries, between nations, if you have, let's say, a trade surplus 1 year, a country, they'll be paid by the people who have a deficit. They'll be paid in gold at $12,000, let's say. But in the marketplace, they'll try to keep the money supply pretty steady and the price pretty much in the band. That's what would happen. That's my opinion. But they might just try a digital currency that's not backed by anything. But I don't think that would work, because that's what we have now. We do have digital currencies in the world because a lot of the money is digital right now, but it's backed by nothing, right? Money for next big political economic event you think will drive price of silver up? I mean, one that I think people know about is what's going to happen on the 20th of January. with the U.S. election. I think that could be the big one. And apart from that, though, is anything could happen. Maybe the EU with even though I think the Brexit deal wasn't that great for the UK, you could start seeing other countries question being in the EU. So that could be another political crisis. Or what about geopolitical as well? There's a lot of talk now about Iran. All the cyber attacks, the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab, the that guy from the World Economic Forum that wants us all to do as he says. He warned about cyber attacks about 6 weeks ago. Lo and behold, we have had cyber attacks. So I think that could be another problem as well. And the geopolitical situation in the Middle East is, I think, a little bit uncertain. Also in the South China Sea, I think there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't think the Americans and the globalists want the Chinese having too much freedom in the South China Sea. So there you go. You're welcome, the Money Fork. Betty Davises about the vaccines. Yeah, and a lot of people have said that corporations might force people to take the vaccine, but I think they're going to have a tough time. I read an article this past week. It was either in the FT or the Wall Street Journal that a lot of American corporations are being advised by their legal departments that they might have a difficult time making people, forcing people to have a vaccine to work for them. There could be a lot of legal cases against them. So I think that's a good thing. I don't think anyone should be forced to, that's part of the Nuremberg Code because of all the experiments the Germans did during the war, especially Dr. Mengele, right? Yeah, Mr. Guppy, the thing about silver is a little bit more like Bitcoin, is it will go up a lot more, but it also come down a lot more than gold. Gold, if you draw a chart from the 1970s, a logarithmic chart, it smooths it out. It just goes to show that gold just very steadily goes up through time because fiat currencies go down. Silver is a little bit more of a wild animal, so to speak. And that's why you probably don't need as much silver, just like you don't need as much cryptos, but it's more speculative. Yeah, money fork, that's the definition of the dollar, 371.25 grains. And I do have this is a Morgan dollar, 1889. So, if someone asks you what's a dollar, well, there's a dollar right there. Thoughts on Ripple? Well, I don't know. I mean, I've had Ripple before, and a lot of people say it's the bankers' cryptocurrency. I'm not sure. I think it dropped quite a bit. I think they're looking into Ripple. Is it the SEC or Department of Justice? I don't know. I'm really not interested too much in Ripple or cryptocurrencies that much, really. I'm going to be old fashioned and hold on to something that has proven to work for the last 5,000 years, and that's gold and silver. and I sleep well at night. And it's my nature not to be. Some people might say I am. Uh, I take risks, but I'm not really a huge risk taker. So that's how I stand. But if people want to get into Bitcoin, it's their prerogative. But what you need to know is that you should be careful not to leverage yourself, not to borrow money to get Bitcoin. Thank you, E.H. Witt from Canada. Happy New Year to you as well. Mr. Guppy, that's a good balance there, I think. 80% gold, 20% silver. EOS, yeah, I looked the other day, at the market caps, and EOS has gone right down in terms of market cap, and that's not that, I would have expected EOS to have done better. Of course, I think it functions well, scalability and speed. But a lot of people don't like the fact they don't think it's decentralized enough because it's proof of ownership, not proof of work. And they've only got like 21 block producers, right? So, and I guess it hasn't really created a big network. That's what cryptocurrency is all about: is people wanting the cryptocurrency. So yeah, but who knows? You never know. It could be in terms of cryptocurrencies, it could be a good, bet or punt. Especially considering where Bitcoin is, and I think EOS is still below $3, and it's been above 10 before. So all right, I'll take a few more questions, and then we'll call it a night. A knock knock, HMRC, open up. Oh, I think the HMRC and also IRS are going to be looking very closely at people who have cryptos. Not saying that I like the tax man, but it is what it is. Crypto, I've been dealing in cryptos since 2013, even maybe a little before. And if you don't keep up with all the updates, all the new wallets, everything, it's very hard. So, and I would say, even though I'm in my 50s, I'm pretty good at that. I have all the, I've been involved in it, and I know how to get along with Bitcoin. I know how to exchange, altcoins for Bitcoins, get it into my wallet, and then transfer it into fiat. And I can tell you, it's not easy. It's not for everyone. That's why I think it's going to be difficult to in the next to get the general public involved unless they make it really easy to use. But if you make it really easy to use, then you lose all the safety measures that it's supposed to have, right? So, but with gold and silver coins, it's not hard. You don't have to update a new, you just hold it and it's going to be there in 100 years and it's still going to be the same coin. But the wallets and everything else, you really need to keep on top of it. This coin here is from 1863. It's a Brazilian coin, silver coin. So it's still good money. So there you go. All right. I wish everyone a great rest of the weekend. And yeah, we'll talk tomorrow. And I guess tomorrow is the 28th. So the next live stream is going to be in 2021. So I wish you all also a happy new year. a prosperous one. And let's hope, and I'm going to read something here that we do have Bibles at home here, but I've never really been into reading it. But there is a saying here, one of the verses here from the book of Psalms. And let's hope this happens. And it says, "For they intended evil against thee. They imagine a mischievous device which they are not able to perform." So to me, what that means is that the globalists tried to trick us in 2020, but then they were not successful. So let's hope that verse is correct. And that these people are exposed in 2021, because I think it's been outrageous what they've done to the general public. I have to be thankful that me and my family have been okay during this crisis, but I can imagine, there's millions and millions of families who've been really hurt and hit hard, small businesses. And I feel for them because it's all based on hysteria. The UK government still says that COVID-19 is no longer a high consequence infectious disease. You can check that on their website, COVID-19 status, UK government. And it's been like that since March 19th, 2020. So why all these draconian measures, right? So with that, I'll leave you guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.